What if the thing destroying your peace every single day isn't your job, isn't your past, and isn't other people, but the one place you can never escape, your own mind? In a small town beside a wide river lived a 28-year-old woman named Claire. She was kind, smart, and hardworking. Everyone liked her. But behind her warm smile, Claire carried a heavy weight. 3 years ago, Claire had opened a small bakery. She loved it with her whole heart. For a while, it did well. Then a big chain opened nearby and slowly, her customers stopped coming. After 2 hard years, she had to close her doors for good. That failure never left her. Every morning, she woke up asking the same painful questions. What did I do wrong? Should I have charged less? Should I have tried harder? And while she lived in the regret of yesterday, she was terrified of tomorrow too. She had a new office job now, but she feared losing it every single day. Her sleep was restless. Her smile felt empty. One evening, her older brother Ryan sat beside her and said softly, "Claire, you look tired, not from work, but from thinking too much." She nodded slowly. "I can't stop, Ryan. I keep going back to my mistakes. And then I get scared of what's ahead. I feel stuck between the two." Ryan thought for a moment and then said, "There's an old woman who lives up in the hills outside town. People call her Grandma Dorothy. She was a well-known therapist in the city for many years. Now she lives quietly and sometimes helps people who are truly lost. Maybe you should go see her." Something small and hopeful stirred inside Claire. The next Saturday, Claire drove 2 hours north, then walked a quiet wooded trail. The air smelled of pine trees and fresh earth. Birds sang in the branches above. It was a truly beautiful path, but Claire saw none of it. Her mind was elsewhere, replaying the bakery, worrying about a work meeting, going over an old argument with a friend. She walked through beauty without ever stopping to notice it. Finally, she reached a small white cottage with a wide garden full of sunflowers and tomatoes. On the porch sat an elderly woman, eyes closed, rocking gently in her chair, completely at peace. Grandma Dorothy opened her eyes as Claire came up the steps. She had calm gray eyes and a face full of kind, knowing lines. "Sit down," she said warmly, as if she had been expecting her all along. "You look like someone who has been walking a long time, and not just on this trail." Inside the cozy kitchen, Dorothy put the kettle on and set out 2 mugs. Then she asked a simple question. "On the trail coming here, what did you see?" Claire thought carefully. "Trees, I think. The path. Did you notice the wild columbine flowers growing at the bend by the old oak? They only bloom 2 weeks a year." "No," Claire said quietly. "Did you hear the creak behind the birch trees?" "No," Claire said again, feeling a strange sadness she couldn't quite explain. Dorothy nodded. She picked up the kettle and poured hot water slowly into Claire's mug. She kept pouring. The mug filled to the brim, then overflowed. Tea ran down the side and pooled on the wooden table. "Dorothy," Claire said, startled. "It's full. It can't hold any more." Dorothy set down the kettle and looked at Claire calmly. "Yes," she said, "and so are you." A quiet stillness fell between them. "Your mind is exactly like this mug, Claire. It is so full, full of yesterday's regrets, tomorrow's fears, old arguments, and imagined disasters, that there is simply no room left. No room to rest. No room for this moment. Not even room for joy, if joy came knocking at your door." Claire stared at the overflowing mug. Something deep in her chest began to loosen. "But how do I empty it?" she whispered. "I've tried telling myself to stop thinking. The thoughts just keep coming back." Dorothy shook her head gently. "That is the wrong question. You cannot force your mind empty. Trying to do that is like trying to stop rain with your bare hands." She sat down, wrapped both hands around her own warm mug, and looked at Claire steadily. "What you need to do," she said, "is simply put the mug down." After tea, Dorothy led Claire outside into the garden. The afternoon sun was warm. Bees moved slowly through the lavender. Everything felt unhurried. Dorothy handed Claire a small watering can. "Water those tomato plants," she said. "Just those. Don't think about whether you're doing it right. Don't plan anything. Just be here, with the water, the soil, and the plants." Claire began to water. Within seconds, her mind wandered, back to the bakery, forward to next week's work review, sideways into an old regret. Then something tiny stopped her. A small earthworm emerged from the dark, wet soil and moved slowly across a leaf. Claire watched it without thinking. It moved with such easy confidence. No hurry, no worry, as if it had nowhere else to be. She watched it for nearly a full minute. And in that minute, something happened. Her mind went quiet. Not blank, but quiet. The way a room feels quiet after a long argument finally ends. She kept watering. She felt the weight of the can in her hand. She heard the soft sound of water soaking into warm earth. She smelled the sharp green scent of the tomato plants. She felt the sun resting on her shoulder like a friendly hand. She was there. Fully, completely there. When the can was empty, she looked up. The garden looked different, brighter, more alive, more detailed than anything she had noticed in a long time. Dorothy was watching from the porch steps with a quiet smile. "You felt it," she said simply. "Yes," Claire breathed. "For a few minutes. I was just here. Nothing else." Dorothy stood up and walked over to her. "That is not nothing, Claire. That is everything. The past is a story you carry around with you. The future is a story you haven't written yet. But this moment, right now, right here, is the only one that is real. And it is always available to you. It costs nothing. It only asks one thing, that you choose it." They sat together as the sun turned golden and low. Claire asked quietly, "But what about learning from the past? Or planning ahead? We can't ignore those things completely." Dorothy smiled and picked up a small stone from the garden path. She held it out on her open palm. "A stone like this can be useful," she said. "You can build with it. But if you close your fist around it and carry it for years and years, your hand grows tired, and you can hold nothing new." Claire looked at the stone and thought quietly about how long her own fist had been closed. "Plan for the future," Dorothy continued. "But plan from a calm mind, not from fear. When you plan from fear, you are always running away from something. When you plan from stillness, you move towards something. Those are very different journeys." Just then, a small orange cat rounded the corner of the cottage and jumped up beside Dorothy, purring loudly. Claire laughed, a real, light, unguarded laugh. The first and longer than she could remember. "He has no yesterday and no tomorrow," she said, smiling at the cat. "He is a very good teacher," Dorothy agreed. As the light grew soft and low, Claire stood to leave. She pressed her hands together and said, "I came here feeling trapped inside my own mind. I don't feel that way anymore." Dorothy held Claire's hands for a moment. Her grip was warm and steady. "The trap was never real," she said gently. "The mind builds its own cage, thought by thought, every I should have and every what if. You don't need to break the cage. You only need to stop building it." She let go and looked at Claire with kind, certain eyes. "Every time you catch yourself lost in the past or the future, don't be hard on yourself. Just return. Return to your breath. To what is right in front of you. A cup of coffee. A task. A person's face. A flower on the path. Come back to now, like coming home. Do it again and again. That is the practice." Claire turned and walked back down the trail. This time, she noticed everything. The golden light across the grass. The evening birds beginning their songs. The sound of a small creak through the birch trees, the one she hadn't heard on the way up. And there, at the bend by the old oak, a small cluster of wild columbine flowers. Pale purple, quietly beautiful. She stopped and looked at them for a long moment. "I walked right past these a few hours ago." The thought came gently, without sadness. And then it passed, like a cloud drifting across a clear, open sky. She smiled and walked on. In the months that followed, Claire's life didn't become perfect. Hard days still came. Old regrets still woke her at 2 a.m. Worry still knocked at her door. But now she had a way back. Whenever her mind filled to overflowing, she remembered the mug, the garden, the earthworm, Dorothy's steady voice. Come back, like coming home. She never reopened the bakery. But she started baking again on Sunday mornings, slowly, joyfully, for herself and her neighbors. She paid attention to every step. The feel of the dough, the smell of bread rising, the warmth of the oven. She baked fully in the present. And quietly, without quite realizing it was happening, she began to smile again, the kind of smile that reaches all the way to the eyes. The present moment is always open. It asks nothing of you except your attention. You don't need to search for peace in some far-off place. It is already here, waiting, in the weight of a watering can, in the song of an evening bird, in the quiet space between one breath and the next. All you have to do is come home to it. If Claire's story touched something in you today, you are not alone. So many of us are carrying yesterday's weight while worrying about tomorrow and forgetting the only moment we truly have, right now. If this story meant something to you, please give it a thumbs up. It truly helps this channel grow and reach more people who need these words. Share this video with someone who has been carrying too much lately. Sometimes, the right story at the right time can change everything. Subscribe so you never miss a new story. Every week, we bring you tales of real wisdom, quiet courage, and the kind of lessons that stay with you long after the words are done. Thank you so much for spending this time with us. Until next time, be gentle with yourself, stay present, and remember, home is always just one breath away. See you in the next story.